Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Kingdom Consulting 2023. I am happy to be with you today. I am excited about what is happening, what is going on in my life, and what God is doing. Regardless of all the chaos and the things that are going on in the country and in the world, for that matter, God is still in control. He is still on the throne. We just have to make sure we are lined up with His word, and He will give us the peace that surpasses all understanding. Again, my name is Helen Ledbetter. I am here representing Kingdom Consulting 2023, which is a platform to aid and assist small ministries and churches to build and to grow their ministry through proper management and administration of God's church. That comes with policies, procedures, governing documents to protect the church, to also give assistance in ways and means to grow the ministry, in-reach, outreach through membership services. There is also opportunities and information regarding pulpit succession, pastoral care, youth ministry, music ministries, and many other things that can help and aid assist in growing the ministry, outreaching to the people in the community, bringing them services, offering them Jesus. We are about kingdom building, about kingdom business. Our consultant, Bishop J.A. Hutton, has 30 plus years of experience in this area. And again, it has been proven to work. He has done the very things that he is speaking of in our ministry. And we do call it a ministry because we are helping God's church. And that's what God has called him and I to do. Again, let me offer up his book. He does have a book on Amazon, A Pastor's Guide to Church Administration and Management. Go look it up. Get it for your pastors, get it for yourselves. I promise you, I can guarantee you, if you follow some of the directions or the instructions, then it will definitely help you and give you many, many nuggets that will provide growth, personal and spiritual development within the congregation and within the community. What I want to discuss to you is to continue in the vein of domestic abuse. And I've spoken to you about how it is also prevalent in the church. And whatever goes on in the world also happens in the church because the people in the world come into the church. They don't come in always healthy and whole. And the people that are already in the church sometimes want to put on the facade that they have it all going on, that they have it all together, and that all is well. But that is not the case. There is abuse in the church as well. And sometimes pastors will misinterpret scriptures that will keep some people in bondage. What I want to discuss today are some of the types of domestic abuses that happen. And there are many other, and this is not an all-inclusive list, and this is not an all-inclusive description of it. However, I do want to address some of them, and you may could recognize some of them as well. If not in your life, then in someone else's life. And I do think that we are our brother's keeper. We are a community that God has called to love because he first loved us he showed us the perfect love. So we want to display that to the people within our community, within the church community, and then it can go abroad to those outside the church. Let me first start about talking about physical abuse, which is mostly the most prevalent one, the most identifiable one. And this happens in almost all relationships. It involves many forms of physical harm, such as hitting, punching, slapping, choking, or even sometimes using a weapon. It's the most visible form of abuse, but not necessarily the most common. It's used to control the partner by inflicting trauma and neglecting their needs. Most people think of physical abuse as the only form of domestic abuse, but there are many others. Some abusers don't want to show that they are abusers, so they'll make abusing subtle. They don't want to show the signs, they don't want to show the bruises or the bumps or the broken arms or broken bones. So they'll be a little bit more sneaky about it and do it in a way that you can't see it outwardly, but it's still considered physical abuse. They can withhold medical treatment or withhold medication, pulling of the hair, and keeping them from leaving or escaping when they're trying to get away from the abusive situation, escaping by and throwing objects, and it can sometimes lead to death. That's an extreme case of a physical abuse, but it is a real one, and it can happen. Those are just some few signs of a physical abuse that you can be aware of. You can look for it in other people. There is also emotional and verbal abuse, which is verbal abuse is pretty much present 100% of abusive relationships. So this includes behaviors like name calling, humiliating, manipulating, and intimidating. The goal is to erode the victim's self-esteem. So when you kill somebody's confidence and their self-esteem, then they're more so psychologically capable of being controlled and manipulated. So all these forms of abuse are designed to hurt someone psychologically and emotionally. Cruel and emotionally to destroy a partner by humiliation, ostracizing them, which is separating them and keeping them away from friends and family. Cruelty, raging, making them think they are crazy, turning children and friends against them, putting them down, accusing them of things, lying to them about things, and lying to other people about them so that people will think ill of them. So emotional and verbal abuse is the easiest form of abuse to inflict as well as to deny. Scars are internal, devastating, and wounds of the spirit. When you emotionally and psychologically control someone, that is a stronghold, and that is definitely hard to break. That is one of the hardest things to even overcome. Calling someone all kinds of names, telling them that they're worthless, that they're a whore, creating chaos, conflict, dramas, intimidation, coercion, threatening consequences, stalking, choking. This all plays on the person's psyche, plays with their minds, and it keeps them living in fear. And when your abuser tells you all these things, when they threaten you, they threaten your life, they threaten to take your children away, and they make all these kind of intimidations and manipulating acts. And manipulation is just sometimes as simple as telling them just enough, the abuser telling their victim just enough to keep them around, showing them infections of love here and there, showing, displaying some certain things that like they're sorry, that there's some kind of remorse, but it's short-lived and it doesn't last. It happens, that time comes, and that time goes. So it doesn't stay. It's just a facade to keep you. And that's a psychological stronghold. Another type of abuse is the sexual abuse. Any non-consensual sexual activity, including coercion or assault, falls under this category. It is about power and control. It has nothing to do with intimacy. Sexual abuse is an especially damaging form of physical abuse. It is used to control the spouse with humiliating and dehumanizing, degrading sexual acts for the victim's own gratification and to show their power over the victim. Almost always is characterized as a narcissistic personality disorder, sociopath, and psychopathy. That is the mindset, the derangement in the person's mind that makes them think it's okay to treat people this way and to control over them in this manner. Sexual assault is present in about 68% of abusive relationships, and that is a lot of people. And it's often not reported because of the difficulty in proving it, and also the humiliation and the shame and the fear that comes with it. Therefore, a lot of women or even men also, they don't report rape because of those reasons. Those are just some of the characteristics of sexual abuse. Financial abuse is probably something that's not even talked about much or even considered, but this occurs when an abuser controls or restricts a victim's access to money, employment, or financial resources, creating a dependency on the abuser. Financial controlling a spouse may make her financial dependent without means to support herself or access to funds. Abusers know that when they withhold finances from their victim, they're less likely to go anywhere because they don't have the means to do so. They may not pay the bills. They don't tell them what their status is financially. They'll lie about what they have financially. They'll go into even a spending spree. So the abused person is totally dependent on the person who holds the purse. The power of the purse goes along with domestic abuse as well. And there are other signs and symptoms along with it, but these are some of the basic and definitions of what each one means. There's also spiritual abuse, which I talked about in the church. Spiritual abuse is used to control a partner by twisting and misinterpreting scriptures. It is overwhelmingly perpetrated by men against women to encourage, excuse, maintain, and promote male entitlement, privilege, and abuse. They may claim scriptures allows the abusive behavior, that the husbands are the head of the wife, and husbands are entitled to demand submission to his every whim. And of course, that is not the case. They use scriptures, Ephesians 5:22 and 23, 1 Peter 3:1-6, claims that she must stay in an abusive marriage because God doesn't like divorce. God doesn't like abuse. God doesn't like dominance over another individual either. For example, this came from a church, a Seventh-day Adventist church. In 2021, there was a pastor that actually said in the pulpit in Bronx, a church in Bronx, he said, "Gentlemen, the best person to rape is your wife." Really? Someone actually said that to their congregation, who should have just gotten up and walked out, because there is nothing in the scriptures that condones rape or abuse in any shape, form, or fashion. Those are just 6 of the types of abuses in domestic violence. And again, there are more. There are digital abuses and other types of abuses. I just want to inform you that these things take place. It's not just the hitting. It's just not the physical outside, not the emotional, psychological. There are many things that go along with those types of abuses. It goes deeper than what one might think. All I ask that we all be aware, that we all take steps if we are in that situation, that we seek to be in a safe place, get into a safe place and get some help. Churches, I implore you to offer these resources, offer this assistance. I would be glad to come to anybody's church and do a teaching on the types of spiritual abuses, the types of domestic abuses, and also some of the symptoms and the mindset of the abusers. They fall into a whole lot of different categories of why they do what they do. And there are other things that I would love to be able to speak on. But this is just a little synopsis. I want to bring the awareness up as much as possible. And there are other different platforms out there. The Tennessee Coalition for Domestic Violence, Domestic and Sexual Assault is out there. I just want to do my part to try to inform and encourage people and to empower women to seek some kind of safety, to seek safety first. And however you want to deal with the situation, there are people and advocates, and I am trying to be one of them to help people to get to different situations and to change their lifestyle and to be more productive and to think more and better and to value themselves more. That is all my purpose today and always is to do. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your attention. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Like and share, like and share. I just want to get the information out to as many people as possible in hopes of helping, assisting, and maybe saving somebody's life, saving someone from years and years or even future abusive situations. I myself, as a former victim, as a recovering victim, as a delivered victim from domestic violence, I don't want anyone to go through it any much longer than you have to. If you're in it, I want to help you get out of it. If you're struggling, if you need help in any kind of way, again, my number is in the description. Email address is in the description below. And I am praying that anybody that hears this, that sees this, will seek some type of a help, get some kind of assistance. There's a hotline, domestic abuse hotline that you can call for information, encouragement, and they could lead you and direct you into different type of areas and resources and shelters, temporarily, long-term. All these things are at your disposal. All you have to do is make the first step. If somebody sees something or knows something or it suspects something in somebody's household, then offer a helping hand. Offer a lending ear, listening ear. Let's not turn a deaf ear to these situations. We want to bring help, hope, and help to these individuals if they will allow. Again, I appreciate your time and attention. I love you, but God loves you more. Stay tuned again for another episode. And I am still talking in the vein of domestic violence. I'll be addressing the mindset of an abuser on my next time up. Thank you. Enjoy your week. I appreciate you again. God bless.